is it when you start at a club like Celtic and you're surrounded by great players like that, you're in the national team at your level, is it hard to kind of keep your feet in the ground and to think, is there something inside your head that thinks this is automatically I'm going to be big time?
No, at Celtic you couldn't have been big time. The first team players were absolutely ruthless with, which I loved. I loved it. I mean, Big Sutton used to come into our dressing room. The chiropractor would be Big Horace for Canada. And Big Sutton would be getting his crack back and he'd say, you know what the problem with this club is, Horace? All the young lads, they're shit, they're ruined training every day. Can't stand when they come up and train with us. We're all sitting there, scared to laugh, scared to say anything. He just gets up, gives you a wee smile and walks back out. They were constantly on it, Lennon as well. There's no way they guys would let you be big time. And it was brilliant, because I took it for the rest of my career, that you need to be thick-skinned. See, when I went to Swindon, it was the second most ruthless dressing room I've ever been in. But I probably wouldn't have been able to handle it if I hadn't went through the stuff I had with Sutton and Lennon and that. I remember as well, they used to say to you, here's my bank card, go and get his money at the bank. If you want to check my balance, you better take a seat with you, because you'll need to sit down when you see how much money I've got. But stuff like that, do you know what I mean? It was brilliant. We'd be training, and Kenny McDill, who was brilliant as well, we'd be taking this with the reserves, and Sutty and Tomo would walk over and he'd be shouting, you're wasting your time with that lot, Kenny. You're wasting your time, none of them will make it. So, as I say, you couldn't get big time because you had such big characters going for, and when you went up to the first team, the standard was unbelievable, and at times you would find yourself really struggling, and so you couldn't get big time because you realised you had so far to go.
I wonder what Chris Sutton's doing now.
He's not winding people up, I'll tell you that.
No, I wouldn't dream of that, would he?
But everyone got it. It wasn't just the young lads. I remember the physios used to sit and say to them, just think, if you worked that a little bit harder, you could have been a doctor. Brilliant. I used to love it. I used to love hanging about Tomo and Sutton. Even Lenny, who played my position, he would slaughter us. And then after the game, after training, you'd go into the dressing room, you're doing your jobs, and he'd be like to you, what was that today? What were you doing today? And I was like, oh, I know, sorry Lenny, I had a nightmare. And he'd be like, it's because you've done this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. You need to do that, that and that. So they would slaughter you, but then there'd be a side out there that would be trying to help you. So you knew that everything they were doing was to try and help you. And Alan Thompson, one of my good mates, Paul Caddis, went to Bury, where Tomo was assistant. And he got my number off Cads, and he actually texted us asking how I was getting on, and said to come down to Bury, and he got sacked. But it was a nice plan at the time.
As we'll find out, you've been lucky along the way in your career. So you involved with people. I mean, the major influences when a kid, in the coaching side, who helped?
Tommy Burns.
Tommy Burns. Another, for those who didn't know him, just a fantastic bloke.
The best guy I've ever met in my life. And I don't think I'll ever meet anyone like him. He's the one guy that I thought, that's how I want to be like him. That's how I want to live my life. Always up for a laugh. Just a bit, but going back to the youth team days, I used to share a flat with Michael Gardine, who's now at Ross County. Probably the maddest guy I've ever met.
Yeah, I was going to think, I'll be a quiet partner.
Honestly.
And you can tell us that.
So, Midge was in about the first team. Doing well, he's a talented player, Midge. But just carried on all the time. He'd be training with the first team and he'd give the boys a bit back, Sutton and Thompson and all that. How am I not playing ahead of you, Tomo? I'm the best player at the club. And they would love that, they'd laugh. But Strachan would pull him in, and Gordon Strachan would pull him in and say, listen, too much carry on your head. You're treating this place like a circus. Back to the reserves. So I remember Midge came back to the flat and he's like, back to the reserves. How am I playing in the reserves? He's like, nah. So the next day we're going to Celtic Park, train after, and he's like, come on over to the Celtic shop, miss. Over at the Celtic shop, Midge, Lenny was the captain at the time, Midge buys a Neil Lennon mask. I'm like, no way, mate. He's like, back over to the park, walking in and out the dressing rooms, picking up the gear with his Neil Lennon mask on. Up to lunch, eating through his Neil Lennon mask. Lenny comes up to lunch, sees him, Lenny loved it, he was pissing himself laughing, do you know what I mean? So I grew up with Midge, but after that happened, Tommy's like that to me, no more, you and Gardine, he's moving out, get a new flat, mate. But Tommy was the same. Tommy was perfect for us because he was just as daft as us. Do you know what I mean? He loved it. He loved when you were having a laugh, but obviously there was a time for a laugh and a time for seriousness. But I remember being up the gym, I was in digs with Big Sandy Wood. He was a goalkeeper for Montrose.
Right.
I used to go up to the gym after training every Tuesday, and I didn't have a lift home, so I went up with him, just kick a ball about the gym. And Tommy's office was up the gym, so he'd see us out in the gym, he'd always come out and get a bit of patter, and he's like that. Come on, Sandy, come on, I'll race you on the rowing machine. First to 200 metres wins, so I'd be the referee. the two of them would batter out the roar. Sandy he was amazing on the roar. He'd horse Tommy all the time. Tommy'd be knackered. The next couple of weeks kept going on and on. Sandy kept beating him. About the third weekend, come up to the office, Tommy still got his suit on and his shoes in his office. So I'm in noise and I'm up saying, look at you, kidding on, you've got meetings so that Sandy doesn't pan you on the roar. He's like, get out, beat it, out in the gym. Tommy makes a grand entrance into the gym. The tie loosened off. He's like, oh, big man, you ready to get beat for an old guy in a suit? Walks over at the rowing machine with his suit on, shoes, him and Big Sandy. Tommy Burns sweating his pan in 2 minutes with his suit on in the rowing machine. So Big Sandy beat him after it. The three of us were rowing about, stitches all after him, and Tommy going about rowing with his suit on. You think he went to a meeting after it, but that just summed up the kind of guy he was, do you know what I mean? Just always up for a laugh.
Savile, really. A big Sandy from Montrose, about to know about boats and rowing.
Exactly, mate, that's all he knew.
So at what point in these halcyon days at Celtic Park did you think, actually, I'm not getting anywhere here, I need to move?
Well, that was it.
What happened?
I came back from Poland and done my ankle in a reserve game. I was out for 2 years. It was terrible, man. Worst 2 years of my life. Really tough. And 2 years in, I went to go and see a specialist in London. He was the best guy. I had 2 operations. Seen a specialist in London and he said, I can give you an operation that might fix your ankle, but if it doesn't work, basically, you need to call time on it. That's it, done. So being that young, obviously, you're like, wow. I'm phoning my mate saying, if this doesn't work, can you get me an apprenticeship? Phoning my mum, she's nearly in tears. So the next day I get back to Celtic Park, Tommy again pulls us in the office. Heard the news, he says, don't worry about it, I'll be fine. How are you feeling? And I was like, I'm fine, I'm all right. If I need to get an apprenticeship, I need to work, I'll do it, no worries. I says, the only thing that's bothering us is my mum's getting really upset. Speak to him again, 5-10 minutes about other stuff. Didn't think any more of it. Get home that night, my mum phones us. She's like, Tommy Burns phoned my work, didn't he? And I was like, no way. I swear, she worked in the bank, said, phoned the branch manager and says, can I speak to Si Ferry? Tommy went on the phone for 10 minutes saying, listen, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. And if it isn't all right, I'll get him a job, I'll put him through his badges, I'll make sure he's all right. So,
lovely.
Just the kind of guy he was, do you know what I mean?
He wasn't phoning about Sutton's bank balance, no?
No. But, I mean, there's probably thousands of people who tell you stories like that, Tommy. You know, I'm not the only one.
Gentleman.